eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. Governor Andy Beshear is holding a news conference on COVID-19. If you'd like to watch that, you can find it on our second channel, Heroes and Icons, or the WYMT Facebook page. But first at 4, this week is Severe Weather Awareness Week, and one threat many of us are used to is flooding. This week also marks the one-year anniversary of a historic flood along the Kentucky River that caused destruction in several communities. Meteorologist Adam Berniston is in Beattyville and shows us how that area recovered after the flooding.
While it has nearly been a full year, many things here in downtown Beattyville are back to normal, but there are some remnants still left behind of the past devastation brought on by historic flooding.
On this day a year ago, much of southeast Kentucky dealt with torrential rainfall that then led to a historic rise along the Kentucky River. By March 2nd in Lee County, the river crested at just over 34 feet, flooding downtown Beattyville. Now, nearly a year later, many of the businesses are back open, but some buildings remain vacant, waiting to be sold or fixed. Still, city and county leaders are trying to find ways to mitigate losses in the future, and one way is by slightly raising some floors out of the floodplain.
Even though the water in the deepest spot was about 7 feet deep, there were spots here where it was only 2 or 3 feet deep. So if we can get those, because a lot of our buildings, the two-story buildings especially, if we can raise the flooring, we can still bring those buildings back.
Now, after last week's heavy rainfall caused the forecast along the Kentucky River to shoot up, many residents were on edge and nervous about flooding potential, but fortunately that major flooding never occurred. In downtown Beattyville, meteorologist Adam Berniston, WKYT.
Coming up at 5:30, hear more about how plans and preparations in Lee County have improved to deal with flooding risks after that historic flooding.
Well, the good news is this year, despite the fact that we are running a 5.3-inch rain, or at least precipitation surplus at the National Weather Service office in Jackson, nothing like what we saw last year. In fact, this week looks to be a rather quiet weather week around the mountains. You see that outside right now. Can you spot a cloud? Because I can't. High knob camera at UVA-Y is a beautiful picture this afternoon. Low 50s out there, so not feeling too bad. Near average out there. Not a cloud in the sky here in Hazard out front of WYMT. The building casting shadows there on the parking lot. Temperatures are in the middle and upper 50s around much of the region. Jacksboro, Middlesboro pushing 60. Most of the rest of us into the middle 50s, and that's not too bad for this time of year. It's all clear as we head outside on satellite and radar. You got to go up into southern Ohio, far northern Kentucky to run into even a few high clouds, but beautiful weather continues as we run through the remainder of not just tonight, but really much of the work week as well. So if you're headed out to any of those region tournaments, I know our first game's kicking off here in a couple of hours, or I should say, I guess, tipping off. 54 as you head out there. Maybe you're headed out to the Corbin Arena for the first game of the 13th Region Girls Tournament tonight. We'll be running into some nice conditions overnight, though we will be cooling off as we finish things off. And if you can't head out there, of course, you can catch all the action on WYMT.com and on our second channel, Heroes and Icons. I'll have the latest on how nice the weather looks as we head into March coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. As the Russian invasion of Ukraine stretches into a 5th day, the UN estimates more than 500,000 people have already left the country to safety. They are being met with blankets, open arms, and at one crossing, a hot meal from a celebrity chef. CBS's Riley Carlson reports.
These are bittersweet reunions for people fleeing Ukraine. Happy to see friends and family, but devastated to leave home. Many of those coming to Poland are packing onto trains with only the possessions they can carry. Some people were standing for 3 days because they couldn't get a seat, says this woman who traveled from Kyiv.
The people don't stop arriving. People are cold, families are cold.
World-renowned chef and humanitarian Jose Andres has brought his World Central Kitchen to the Polish border. They're serving thousands of hot meals at several crossings in Poland and Romania. The effort is also supporting chefs inside Odessa, Ukraine, where fighting is underway.
There's many ways to fight. Some people fight just making sure that people are fed.
Those who've made it out are hearing it's getting more difficult to leave.
When we are crossing, there was maybe 100, 200 person, but right now it's maybe 3,000 person.
And they worry about those staying behind.
Every kid's crying. Because they live their father.
They'll try to stay in touch and hope the war ends soon. Riley Carlson, CBS News, London.
The European Union is preparing to grant Ukrainians who leave the war the right to stay and work for up to 3 years. It's also sending help to border countries to help with arrivals. Facebook's parent company has discovered dozens of fake accounts, groups, and pages that were spreading pro-Russian sentiments. Meta's move comes alongside a separate takedown of what officials call an intensified push from hackers trying to compromise accounts of Ukrainian leaders and journalists. This campaign is dubbed Ghostwriter and apparently succeeded in penetrating some accounts. Meta says this campaign, though, was relatively small and was disrupted before it had a chance to gain significant momentum. Despite planned peace talks, many expect the bloodshed in Ukraine will continue, and people are feeling the effects here in the United States. Oil is already up to more than $100 a barrel, and experts predict the situation will keep prices high. Investors on Wall Street are bracing after a roller coaster last week, and the Moscow exchange did not open at all today. Another big change, boycotts of Russian-branded alcohol are underway at some stores and bars. In Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine took things one step further, stopping the sale of all Russian-made vodka in his state. All 487 liquor agencies across Ohio are pulling Russian standard vodka from their shelves. That amounts to approximately 6,400 bottles. Green Mark and Russian Standard are the only Russian-owned brands sold in Ohio. We've learned that West Virginia's governor is also doing something similar, joining a growing list of states implementing those policies. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Monday, where the Dow closes down more than 166 points today. We'll have more financial news in our next half hour. Giving a shelter dog a forever home is usually cause for celebration, but for one Phoenix couple, their new addition cost them something they were not expecting. Their new pit bull led to their homeowner's insurance being canceled. The insurer sent a notice of cancellation to the couple shortly after an inspection where the agent asked about their new dog, Echo. The cancellation not only affected their main home, but also a second home in Indiana Echo has never even seen. Why? The insurance company says the couple violated their policy by adopting an ineligible breed.
I was so shocked, surprised, and couldn't believe somebody would just discriminate against on a breed.
The Hartford Financial Services Group defended their move, saying in a release statement that dog bites are a leading cause of liability claims against homeowners, which is why they have breed guidelines in place based on risk. They add they have the right to change or revoke policies if circumstances no longer fit these guidelines. Still to come on First at 4, rare diseases can be difficult to diagnose, but modern technology is hoping to change that using photos to unlock medical mysteries.
We had a quiet one out there as we head through the rest of the week with even more quiet weather on the way. I'll have the latest on sunshine and mild temperatures on the way next.